Without these 3 developers, nearly every Minecraft server wouldn't exist. This is MD5, or Michael, the creator of Spigot, but some of Michael's earliest work was on Bukkit. Bukkit was the first server software that allowed you to easily load plugins, which are like mods for servers. Given that the alternative was shitty minigames made with redstone, this was an absolute game changer at the time. Alright, you following? Great, I'm gonna completely flip this on its head. Behind everyone's back, Bukkit's management sold the project to Mojang. When the news dropped, Bukkit's developers who weren't included in this deal were furious and they struck down the project, forcing it to be abandoned. This all happened right around the release of version 1.8, and many server owners were worried they wouldn't be able to update, like at all. But one man saw the situation a lot differently. To him, it was just a problem that needed fixing. Someone could swoop in, save the day, and make Bukkit great again. This man was Michael MD5. He created Spigot as a successor to Bukkit, and he made absolutely certain the existing plugins would still work. This effectively meant Bukkit's development picked up right where it left off, all thanks to this one guy. Once Spigot was a bit more established, he also created Bungee Cord, which allows players to seamlessly travel between servers without having to reconnect to a different IP. Spigot remained the main software used by almost every server for years, until it was overtaken eventually by Paper. While Spigot is important, without plugins, it's pretty much useless. Plugins, like World Edit. Come on, you gotta admit, that transition was smooth as hell. It was created by SK89Q, or Albert, so get ready for his villain origin story. Back in Minecraft Alpha, when survival mode was still brand new, Albert and a couple friends had a server together. Everyone built their bases in different styles, scattered across the map. And one day, Albert had the idea that it'd be cool if they connect their bases with roads. So, the group started manually gathering the materials for it. And this process was boring as shit! So, to speed it up, Albert turned to the dark side and became a modder. Back then, the modding community was tiny. There was no Forge or Bukkit. If you wanted to make a mod, you had to open up the game files and manually replace them, all while trying to figure out whether the function names meant placing a block or quitting the game. But Albert learned how to make a simple mod that set 2 positions and filled in the area with blocks. Sounds pretty fucking evil to me. Anyway, shortly after this, he released the initial version of World Edit with just 300 lines of code. Around the same time, a different developer created a standalone application called MCEdit that did pretty much the same thing. And the way I remember, MCEdit caught on much earlier. Once Albert found out about it, he didn't see it as competing though, and he enjoyed using both of them for different things. The community, however, saw it differently, constantly comparing the two on the forums. Albert continued adding features to World Edit. Crazy shit like brushes, mathematical expressions, and height maps. Imagine being so boring that you build with math. Since Albert primarily made World Edit for servers, it became an indispensable tool for every build team. But as World Edit gained real traction, MCEdit's development stagnated. Their last update was in 2015, and by this point, World Edit had largely replaced it. I know personally I stopped using MCEdit once I found out about World Edit. Some people genuinely did use both, but fundamentally I think they were competing. And World Edit won. After 2015, Albert's contributions to World Edit slowed down. However, it was popular enough that other developers still maintained it for free just because they loved it, thus making World Edit one of the oldest plugins that's still in use today. Since all this, newer tools like Axiom and World Painter have emerged, and even Mojang made a similar thing for Bedrock Edition. Albert's actually seen some screenshots of these, and he likes the concepts a lot. But for me, and most Java server owners, World Edit's still the go-to. Overall, Albert's happy people got that little extra joy out of building with World Edit, the same joy it gave to him. World Edit's definitely earned its spot as the most popular plugin, but Inventive Talent, or Haley, has been #1 on the Spigot leaderboards for almost a decade. When she first discovered Minecraft in 2012, she thought it was fine, but she was 14 with 3 years of coding experience, so she was much more interested in how she could mod it. So there's mods and there's plugins, but plugins are a lot more limited. For example, they can't add any new items. Anytime you see that on a server, it's just a bunch of workarounds. So the obvious choice for Haley would be mods, right? Well, she tried to learn modding, but she just ended up frustrated. This was before any fancy tools like Fabric or really even any good tutorials, so she gravitated more to plugins. She spent hours after school each day learning to code them, and eventually, she decided to publish her work to the Spigot website. Over the next 2 years, she slowly became the most prolific developer on the entire site out of her pure passion for coding. Even MD5 left a review on one of her plugins, which, according to Haley, is the only time she's aware of him doing this before or since. But of course, no matter how talented you are, people will still take issue with it because you're a woman. It's a pretty heavily male-dominated space, so she's gotten a lot of subtly sexist comments. Usually it's just being surprised that a girl can code or like misgendering her, but there have been a few times where it's just overtly sexist to her face.
So, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a developer.
But you're a woman?
Would you suck Andrew Tate's given the opportunity?
No, women aren't funny. Women aren't funny.
Generally, though, she lets her work speak for itself, which probably disarmed a lot of the sexist comments. Some of her code arguably pushed the boundaries of what you could do without mods. But there was one problem. There weren't very many people actually using it. She had 500,000 downloads total across her plugins, and World Edit has 22 million on one project. She was also getting pretty tired of dealing with the unique expectation plugin developers have of personally providing tech support to everyone. People also expect constant updates, which is rough if it's only a hobby. I mean, these people are lucky her plugins are public at all. And all of this just kind of sucked the fun out of it. So Haley came up with a different idea. Still focusing on Minecraft, she taught herself web development, spending the next couple of years creating mostly Minecraft-focused tools. Once she'd gotten good at it, some of them ended up getting quite popular. Take Mineskin, for example, which helps servers generate Minecraft skins from images. Here's some popular plugins that use it, and if that looks like gobbledygook to you, just know that's most servers. There's also MineRender, which renders Minecraft objects on websites. Even if these were still just hobby projects, people really liked them. But Haley was reaching the age where you have to graduate from high school and fuck off to college, meaning a lot less time to code and a lot more time watching an elderly professor teach her basic shit. Luckily though, Minecraft web development was actually a pretty valuable skill, and one day she received a commission that would change everything. It was from one of the largest Minecraft servers in history, the Hive. She was tasked to create a custom version of MineRender, which, while kind of boring, made Haley realize there was money in this. Before, she'd basically only had Spigot's measly reward program and a couple donations. But she did the commission and continued taking work here and there, although nothing particularly substantial. But this would all change when she got hooked on hypixel skyblock. Bet you didn't expect that! She got very into it, grinding hours a day, and eventually made it to the magma boss. This fucker spawns once every 2 hours on the dot and usually gets killed within 2 minutes, so very annoying to actually run into it. But this gave Haley an idea. She threw together a website that tracked its spawn patterns so she could get the drops that she wanted. Just for fun though, she posted about her timer on the hypixel forums, and it caught the f*** on. Hundreds of people started to stalk it to see when the next boss would spawn. It's just a 2-hour timer, I don't know why they needed it, but apparently there were so many that hypixel actually had noticeable spikes in the player count when it reached 0. Seeing this, one of the staff members sent her a message. The staff member thanked her for her timer, and they talked for a while. And Haley realized that this might be her only chance to potentially get a job working at Hypixel, the largest Minecraft server in existence. Eventually, she managed to schedule a date for an interview. But this was her first real job interview she'd ever been in, so she was extremely nervous. Afterwards, she really wasn't sure if she'd get hired or not. But she fucking did! Since getting hired at Hypixel, Haley's worked on a few things you might recognize, but mostly back-end stuff. She gets to work on awesome projects with people she's looked up to for years without the stress of angry customers like on Spigot. And she even got to drop out of college from it. This is a very inspiring story, but there's another reason I wanted to talk about this. In the history of my channel, I think I've talked about 4 women. Haley, obviously, the head of Minecraft, my girlfriend, and someone who got fucking groomed. Girls deserve to see role models too. If you're a girl and you need to hear this from Skyboy from Minecraft for some reason, Minecraft and video games in general are a totally valid thing to be interested in. Same with coding. Anyway, now that I've fixed sexism, thank you to Albert, Michael, and Haley for answering my dumbass questions and their huge contributions to the Minecraft server space. Remember to subscribe and have a great rest of your day.